The full episode of this podcast can be seen for free. Click the link in the bio chat. Let's get it. You guys had Tory Lanez on the podcast.
Yeah.
I remember watching that episode. I'm like, that's during a time when people had all these
So there's
questions.
There's a fuck story about Tory Lanez. He was our second guest. I love Tory Lanez. I love his music. He's dope.
And he's from Canada too.
Yeah.
What happened? From Scarborough, I think.
So we were doing it, and then I guess his publicist or whatever gave us a list of shit not to ask, and it was obviously don't ask about Meg Thee Stallion. It's an open case, whatever. And I think that was it. They said no Meg Thee Stallion. But when we our team goes there an hour before to set up, and we had this producer there that used to be our audio guy, and they gave him a new list of shit not to bring up. Don't bring up 6ix9ine. Don't bring up Drake. Don't bring up this. Don't bring up that. And he never told us. He forgot to tell us. So Salim's sitting there too, fucking high as shit. And he was we kept asking, so what's your relationship with 6ix9ine and shit now? And then he was going in on him about Rihanna too.
Yeah.
And then Tory Lanez is yo, really? What the fuck? And he's shut off all the cameras.
Really?
He's shut them all off right now. So he goes and makes sure they're all off, turns them all off himself. Yeah. And he's like, yo, are you guys really gonna fucking do this to me? He's I'm dodging interviews. I came on this because I fucked with you guys. What the fuck? And then he's let's all go outside right now. So me,
go outside
in the backyard. So, just him though, just him. He's me, him, Bob, and Salim. We all went in the backyard, and he just said same shit. He's bro, are you guys really gonna do me this now? I fuck with you guys. How are you gonna ask me this shit? And we're he said yo, I said don't ask this shit. And I'm bro, I swear to God, our producer fucked up. And I opened my phone and I already have a huge paragraph text from the producer guy. Yeah. He's I'm so sorry, I forgot to tell you guys and shit. So we had to scrap that whole interview. And then Tory was so cool though. He was
oh, he did another one. Okay,
he's let's go in and dude, let's just have fun with this, blah blah blah. And I'm dude, no problem. We didn't know we couldn't ask this shit. We don't, you know what I mean?
Imagine Tory powering down the cameras.
It was pretty scary actually. It was kind of fucked. And then we went back in and we all smoked and we just ran it back and it turned out dope.
Yo, do you guys listen to any time when an artist says or anyone because I know OJ said, listen, don't come on, I know
they said
don't interview
don't
OJ.
ask. They said don't ask it. That was the deal.
But you have to ask it.
I had to. I think they knew too. He had this side guy, really cool guy, but it was I don't know if it's his friend or whatever, and he asked us 10 times. So I kind of felt bad for that guy. He's this short white guy, cool guy, but he's yo, so no asking about the murders and shit. And I'm yeah, and then I was yeah.
Yo,
I didn't want to do it because low key OJ was such a likable guy in the interview. He's pretty cool. So I had to drink to ask. I drank I kept drinking Happy Dads. I was fuck. Oh. I gotta ask this right now.
No, yo, the last 20 minutes, yo, you asked the question so fucked. You're yo.
I said, are you scared to face God?
No. Forget that. No, that was crazy. But you know what you say? You're yo, you're you ever curious of trying to find the killer? Yo, stop it. Yo, and
I had to though. I had to.
He was so nice and kind of batting it down constantly. Was come on, guys.
Did you see the Deadly Duo thing?
Which one?
Because he was talking about Trump.
Yeah.
And he said him and Trump used to wheel girls together.
Yeah.
And I was oh, I wasn't thinking, but I was oh, you and Trump. I was that's a deadly duo. He's don't use that phrase. I was oh my God.
Yo, I like how you brought up. It was oh yeah, so you were smashing on Chris.
He was dissing them low key.
No, he was.
He said yeah, I was dating models. I'm not hitting Kris Jenner.
Hey, that's one thing about you, yo. Yeah, he sneaked.
And he was chirping Bruce Jenner a lot too.
Yo,
he was ragging on him.
Yo, now he has some things he wanted to get off.
Oh yeah.
But yo, your sense of humor and how you ask the questions,